There are a lot of things to do, explore and collect still left for you in Ghost of Tsushima even after finishing the main story. And if you're anything like me, chances are that you're going to enjoy getting lost in what's probably the most beautiful open world this past generation. Even after beating the game, there are still many stories left to be told, interesting characters to interact with, but most important of them all, a lot of very amazing items and powerful armor sets to play with. In this video, I want to cover all of these awesome things that you can still do after beating the game. So if you enjoyed this video, then make sure you hit that like button, that would be super awesome if you did it, and let's jump right into it. Let's begin with one of the first things that you should be doing if you're still hungry for more storytelling even after beating the entire game, and that is of course completing the character multi-part tales that are very likely still left for you out there. So there are several very interesting side characters that accompany Jin for the majority of the game, but they also have their own very unique stories too that oftentimes span over the course of all of the three main story acts. These include Master Ishikawa, Lady Masako, Yuna, and many others, including my favorite, which is of course Kenji. Some even span over up to 9 very beautifully crafted missions that give you a ton more context to their lives, but even more important, they also give you some of the best rewards in the game. So these stories can also be completed after finishing the main game, by the way. If you didn't do it, don't worry, you haven't missed much, but there is one surprise, and that is the fact that the dialogue in many of these cases is going to change depending if you finish the game or not. I'm not going to spoil anything, there are some really interesting secrets over there that you should know, but rest assured that the events of the main campaign are going to be reflected in some of these missions. These tales also provide a lot more useful resources, as I've said, including a ton of silk. This is the main way to get silk in this game, as oftentimes these missions will provide 2 silk per each mission, and it only takes like no more than 15 minutes to complete one. But there's also a ton of vanity items and also some of the most powerful charms in the game that you're going to get from these. Like for example, for the Lady Masako quest chain, you're going to get a ton of melee charms as well as stealth charms, but you're also going to get a couple of very awesome skins like this one right here for the Samurai Clan armor. It basically makes it look like the one that is broken, but you now have the color pattern for that. And yeah, as I've said, there are many others, including weapon upgrades that you cannot get otherwise, like the fire arrow from Master Ishikawa's questline, as well as the hallucinating dart from Yuriko, but again, a ton more stuff on top as well. This also brings us to the next point on the list, and at the end of the main story and after concluding the event, you're going to see that all of the enemy camps and outposts automatically get revealed for you on the entire map. This is going to make it much easier for you to travel to them and liberate all of these zones. And yes, all of the maps in Ghost of Tsushima are going to have at least a dozen or so of these outposts that require liberating. Which also brings me to the next point, and that is the fact that you should go ahead and take all of these down, or the majority of them all, because these will provide you a ton more resources that you're likely going to still need to fully upgrade the remaining of your gear. As a matter of fact, I made a video yesterday just about these outposts, and there's a really awesome farming tactic that you can use to get almost an infinite amount of resources and supplies to fully upgrade everything. But there are other benefits as well, like for example, taking down an enemy camp will also reveal a rather large area around them on the map as well, which should make map exploration and discovery that much easier. Furthermore, this also gives you the perfect chance to further evolve your legend and get those last remaining technique points that you might still be needing for the last few skills in your skill trees. On the plus side, now that you have finished the entire game and have evolved your arsenal beyond any human's capabilities, now is also the perfect time to just go up against all of these tougher foes and kinda test everything out, especially that really awesome combat that I'm still enjoying and still can't get enough of even after finishing the game. This brings us to the next very important point on the list, and something that you should have probably done in the main story before finishing it, but if you still didn't, then also finish the mythic tales. There are 7 mythic tales in total in Ghost of Tsushima that all provide some of the most useful items that this game has to offer. 4 of them will provide 4 of the legendary combat arts. This includes the Heavenly Strike attack, the Dance of Wrath, the explosive arrow, and finally that really beautiful fiery sword that I've again covered in a previous video. So if you want to go ahead and see how you can get these, go ahead and check out my previous video where I covered all of the mythical abilities. But there's also 3 left, including the one for Gosaku's armor, Kojiro's armor, and there's the final one for Tadayori. And all of these are something that I absolutely loved, especially the 6 blades of Kojiro was one of my favorite missions, not just from a story point of view, but also from a gameplay point of view. And I truly believe that this mission truly embodies the essence of what Ghost of Tsushima is. So basically, without spoiling anything, there are 6 samurai that are all looking for your head, or well, 6 swordsmen that are kinda looking for your head, and you have to fight them in one-on-one duels. It's quite challenging because all of them are basically bosses that you have to take on, all have their own unique special attacks, but this is what makes this mission so amazing. Not only are you fighting these master swordsmen of legendary stature, but you're also doing so in some of the most beautiful places that the game takes you in. Like each and every single one of these fights is in one of the most iconic places that you can find in the world of Ghost of Tsushima, and I absolutely loved every single moment, to the point that I actually let the bosses even kill me several times just so that I can redo the combat over and over again and kind of like get my enjoyment out of it. So definitely go ahead and do these because they are definitely worth it. Speaking of worth it, it's also worth it to explore the open world of Ghost of Tsushima. Not only is it beautiful, like truly it is a screenshot simulator if I might say so, and that's not even covering half of it. But it's not just the most beautiful game of all time, it's also one of the most rewarding open worlds that I've seen up until now. Exploration in this game actually gives you a ton of very interesting stuff, like for example a lot of cosmetics. You get them from doing the side activity that is tied to exploration, and for this I recommend one very easy unlock, which is the Wind of Vanity in this skill tree right here. So this upgrade will make it so that your guiding wind will also point you to your next vanity item. It even shows it on the map to make it more clear, like the wind, there's a line that kind of shows you where your next destination is to make things much easier. But otherwise you will also have to enter the map menu, press arrow left, and then choose the guiding wind target so that it points you to these vanity items in the first place. And you will find a ton of them, as I've said. There are a ton of hats, a lot of sword kits, and a lot of headbands waiting for you out there in the open world, as well as in some of those really awesome haiku mini games. Oftentimes you will find them randomly out in the world, like for example on the side of the road, in the middle of a forest, on the top of a house for example, even in abandoned structures and whatnot, and all sorts of other hidden places. So this is something that you will absolutely need. But some of these hats especially are my favorite because they provide you a ton of cool looking ones, that some of which even resemble the ones from a fully upgraded armor set for example. So I really enjoy that about this. It basically makes you whatever type of samurai you want to become, just because we have so many options. Now since we're still on the subject of gear, why not go ahead and fully upgrade whatever is left of it. Not only are you getting some really awesome versions of the base sets, which by the way they look really awesome once fully upgraded, but you can also go in and talk to all of these vendors all around the map that will also provide additional color kits that you can apply to your armors, of course in exchange of flowers. But some of these look quite unique. There's others that you can also earn from missions, I've already talked about that, but these can enable some really awesome looks that you might otherwise be missing. And who knows, maybe this will be a good tactic to also get ready for a potential new game plus. I would really love a new game plus in Ghost of Tsushima. I think that there is a big demand of it, and we've seen many games in the past from Sony that kinda got a new game plus like a month or at least a few weeks after its initial release. Not sure if this is going to be the case with Ghost of Tsushima. It would definitely be awesome, but even if that's not gonna be the case, you still need the best equipment possible, as there are many awesome builds you can create with all of those different armor sets that you can get your hands on. Which also brings us to the final one that you should get your hands on, and that is go for the Platinum Trophy. As crazy as that sounds, this is like not one of the hardest games when it comes to fully achieving Platinum. It's actually decently easy compared to other games, so go ahead and get all of the remaining collectibles and achievements and maybe even aim for that trophy, especially since the Guiding Wind has several upgrades that will let you discover all of these points of interest, like Fox Dance, like the Hot Springs, and like the Bamboo Strikes, all of which are very useful not just to that but also to kind of further develop your character. This also brings us of course to the fact that you should be using Explorer outfit throughout all of this, as I've said in one of yesterday's today's video, specifically because it pointed towards all of these very awesome artifacts that are required to like fully get the platinum, especially the Sashimono banners. If you didn't know about these are actually the ones that you use in order to unlock new horse armor. You basically get 10 of these, and for each 10 of them you will unlock a new horse armor that also looks really cool. To do that, you will have to also go to Komatsu Forge and talk to this NPC right here on the map. He is going to give you 1 horse armor for each of the 10 ones that you will unlock. But yeah, this is it with all of the things that you should be doing and you can do after finishing the main story. Of course, there's a ton of other stuff in there waiting for you, but I'm gonna let you discover all of them. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, it would be super awesome if you left a like on this video. That would definitely help me a lot. Also subscribe and activate that notification bell if you also want to get notified and get these videos as early as possible. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching and peace.